Welcome to New Mexico Black Rifle Operators Union. I'm your host, Sean. So we have some bad news again, in case that we've been following closely on New Mexico Black Rifle Operators Union. Mock v. Garland, the district court that's over North Dakota has found that they're not going to give any injunctive relief at all for the federal pistol brace ban. They've actually found kind of against us and said that the short barrel rifles and short barrel shotguns are actually not in common use enough and considered to be more dangerous than anything else because of their concealability, which is interesting because they ruled that stun guns and tasers were actually in common use and protected by the Second Amendment, despite things that have happened in like New York and California where they tried to ban the stun guns and so forth. There are more short-barreled rifles and pistols in circulation than there are stun guns or tasers. So that doesn't make sense. But this opinion was written by a judge who was actually appointed by George Bush, which was very poorly written from multiple legal scholar standpoints. I'm not a legal scholar, so I'm going to have to go off of what they said. But it leaves room for interpretation later. So this is just a minor setback. We know that the courts are going to try really hard and heavy to still keep us under the Mock v. Garland stuff and the arbitrary stuff that the ATF tried to put out with their new pistol brace rule. Again, you do you. I'm just trying to inform you of what's going on. I personally still think that when this hits the Supreme Court, because it will have to hit the Supreme Court, because there's no consensus right now on any court case that could lead this to an actual decision. It looks like it's a 50-50 split between red districts, I guess is what we'd have to call them, or districts that are more conservative leaning or more freedom leaning versus the ones in the blue areas. Oddly enough, the ones in California are kind of leaning our way right now when it comes to this type of thing, so there is hope. The other thing that I thought was funny, and I haven't had a chance to read more about it because I'm kind of up in the air about this one, FPC, Firearms Policy Coalition. So these are the guys that keep giving us the wins time and time again and have given us the injunctive relief that we do have. If you are a member of FPC or GOA, you are covered by the injunctive relief for the pistol brace rule until this is finally all settled and done in the courts, if you own one of these. Now, I joined FPC because, well, FPC seems to be the one fighting the cases the most right next to GOA. And they are the ones that do a lot of trolling on Twitter and are kind of cool. I would recommend you follow them. Now, why does it make sense that FPC would pick up Hunter Biden's case for his pistol stuff or for his gun stuff? Number one, FPC has taken up cases before, especially when it comes to civil liberties, with 2A civil liberties, when they involved gun charges and drug charges. Because the way they see it is, I think the correct reading of the Constitution is that you using a recreational substance, whatever it is not covered under any restriction because of what the historical precedence was. They have never been able to pull away your firearms if you were drunk up until you were actually using the firearm while you're drunk. Okay, and that's the same thing that I believe should happen with recreational substance, whatever they are. Is if you're under the influence, I'm okay with them stopping you from using your gun then. But that's just me, because I think most of us in the 2A community, most of the people that listen to New Mexico Black Rifle Operators Union, wouldn't use one if they were inhibited in any way, period. Because we're too smart for that. And most of the people in the 2A are like that. But as I've said before, it's always that 2% that's the exception to the rule, or that 1% that's the exception to the rule, not the rule, that seem to screw it up for everything else. That's what I've seen going on in the 2A world right now, In the news world, what I think is kind of interesting that is coming out is the stuff about Ray Epps finally getting charged for something. Yes, it's a misdemeanor. So if you don't know who Ray Epps is, he's the guy that was actually out on January 6th calling for people to go into the federal buildings and to do something. He's the one that basically was trying to egg these people on, those that were protesting there. He's been on film. Everybody is wondering who the hell he is. And it's suspected by many, including myself, that he's some sort of federal plant because he was actually trying to incite violence that day. Now, it's a misdemeanor, but it's a start. Again, that to me was the most interesting thing. The other thing that's come out, that if you're watching the culture war stuff, I'll just tell you what the big push is Lauren Boebert. She's a representative or a senator out of Colorado. She got caught going to the Beetlejuice movie and getting felt up by her date. They have since broken up. And anyway, it's a minor thing. I don't know anyone between two consenting adults. That's not a big deal. She didn't seem to mind it. He didn't seem to really care. Otherwise, he would have done something so crass or rude in public. But because she is in Congress right now, or the Senate, either one, this has become a big deal. The other thing that's coming out in the culture war stuff is, if you don't know Russell Brand was married to Katy Perry. He's a British guy who's kind of come out in the libertarian vein lately. He's come out in a lot about anti-COVID stuff. He's come out about in favor of basic civil liberties, I think even up to and including the Second Amendment. But once you do that, the left starts gunning for you. Okay, the culture war left at least. And they have now said that he slept with a minor, a teenager, I believe it is. It looks like it's just baseless accusations. They're going after him just like they go after anybody who's not in their camp. This is that cancel culture that the right, the more conservative-leaning groups, are just now starting to learn how to do effectively. Because they've realized that if they do it if we do it, look at Bud Light, if we move our money where we believe it should go, and we don't support companies that hate us, boom, we start seeing change. Bud Light's going to go away. My favorite restaurant and haunt here is Outback Steakhouse. Guess what tap is no longer there? And guess what's there? Sam Adams Oktoberfest. We're winning. Okay, it doesn't feel like it because we're always under constant attack. This is kind of how it is in the 2A community. We've been that guy, the meme where I've mentioned this before, the meme where it shows the guy he's on the gallows and he's got the rope around his neck and they're about to put it on the other guy, and the guy looks down and says, "Your first time?" This is not unusual for the 2A. We're always under attack. And with this administration, we should have known it. Especially when the orange guy left the back door open for them, when he said, take the guns first, and then he started letting the ATF do things by executive fiat without going through Congress. That opened the door for the next administration. And people like me and people like you guys knew this. This isn't new. We know that the people that we vote for, there's a good chance nowadays, are going to roll us in the clover. And when it comes to gun rights, the minute there's one of these bad shootings or incidents that tugs at heartstrings, they start looking at trying to pull civil rights. And the reason why they do is we got to do something. If it just saves one life. None of it saves lives because this is a mental health issue. I harp on that type of thing all the time. You guys know this. All of you ladies and gentlemen, you know this. That the Second Amendment is absolute. But our founding fathers should have written it as if we were talking to a 3-year-old. Because they've left just enough interpretation, apparently, that the powers that be, the people that want to take our rights away, use those little bitty things to try to take away our rights, because they believe a well-regulated militia, and they forget the comma always, being necessary for a free state, right? Comma. The right of the people shall to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That last phrase is the part that they associate with the militia. Well, the people are the militia. We have always been the militia. And it is stated that way for a reason. If anything, we should be allowed to make our own private armies. You know? That's what the intent was, is that if we had to build our own private army to stand up to tyranny, we could do it. Now, I don't see anybody doing that, and if you do it nowadays, if you form a militia, now you're considered a right-wing nut job, and when all you're trying to do is protect your family, your community. You know, I've never seen a militia get really nuts, despite what's going on. In that vein, all those people that were accused of kidnapping or plotting to kidnap the Michigan governor have been acquitted now. All 6 of them. Because they know this was entrapment. The feds led them down the path to try to entrap them. Same thing happened on January 6th. The reason why I ever get pissed off about the January 6th guys is because these guys were warned. They were told not to go down there. And I know some guys. I know I have a kind of a friend, an associate, that was there reporting, and he got tied up by that crap, and I don't agree with it. But the guy, in my opinion, is too damn smart. He should have known better, but he was trying to do real live reporting. And in this day and age, finding someone that's willing to have the balls to do real life reporting, you have to give it up for them. It's just that one incident. We all knew January 6th. There was too many warning signs. There were too many podcasters that were out at that time telling them, hey guys, if you go there, stay outside, peacefully protest and go away. And instead, you had enough rabble-rousers that it looks like to me, I still believe there were feds involved in this that instigated a lot of that. And I think most of us in the 2A community know that's the case. Because those people, all it takes is one, in a crowd of people, all it takes 1 or 2 people to start something really bad, and that's how you end up with riots. That's how the Ferguson riots started. Those guys go in there, they have a couple of the dudes from Antifa or any of the other Black Bloc dudes. If you don't know what Black Bloc dudes, the rioter guys that are paid to go from protest to protest, and they say such phrases as respect diversity of tactics. What they mean is violence causes things to change. Now, on our side of the community, why I have advocated for being peaceful is we're the type of people, if we're not peaceful, it's going to get ugly quick. And what I mean by that is lots of people would get stacked. Bodies would get stacked. I'm not calling for that. It would just be a symptom of them being at the wrong place at the wrong time with the right equipment and the right training. And that's why I worry, because that would cause overreaction on the scale that we have not seen in the United States. Because if you give these guys that emergency power stuff because of something like that, they will damn sure abuse it, and we saw it during COVID. Like, share, subscribe, be great.